Hello, I'm Jill DeWitt here with my partner, Stephen Jack Butel, and we are Land Academy. Welcome to our Thursday afternoon member webinar. I'm saying our names because we are open to the public for a few minutes for these uh, current events and other really important things that we want to share. And then after that, we will close it up for you, our members who are watching with us and participating with us on Zoom. Please go ahead. Thank you, Joseph, for saying, yeah, I gotcha. So please go ahead and load up your questions.
And your amazing real estate deals.
Totally. I'm excited. And since we were not here last week because of Easter week, I'm looking forward to it. I'm like, I bet you guys are sitting on some gold that you want to talk about. So we cannot wait. Do you want me to dive into our announcements?
Sure.
Okay. So let's see what we have here.
Cool. There you go.
Thank you very much, sir. That's us. Of course, for members, as you're submitting deals for us, please, I'm talking about our Zoom Q&A. Actually, excuse me, I'm getting all tongue-tied here. I was talking about the format. I'm not looking at the slide and talking about it, but here's a format for submitting your deals. And of course, you know how to use the Q&A for that and the chat for all the other little things that goes on, and people cannot see it. The Q&A should be on. But since you said that, Joseph, I'm sure my team is going to check on that for you. All right, we have a question of the week here, and it is from Ram. And the question is, if a zip code has a strong 12-month history of sales, but no current active listings, is that a good market to mail to? Oh, my initial gut is heck yes. I would think so, but then it seems to fail the red, yellow, green test. Since the realtor data is pulling homes and not just land, I wonder how relevant the regular green test is in such markets where the demand for land is clearly outpacing the supply. I'm brand new at this, and I'm missing something. Am I?
This is a really smart question. You know, from a data perspective, it might not come back just because there's this null value of zero. It's just not even zero, it's null. But if it is zero, it's going to come back with flying colors. You always want more sales than you do active property. And so the only reason I can think of, there's two reasons, I guess, that I can think of where this would happen. You're in a really urban area, really urban, like downtown Los Angeles or New York City, where there's just no land at all. There's no land for sale if you wanted to buy it. So it's going to come back like that. If there's a lot of sales, you wouldn't really see land sales then. So this would warrant, if the first thing I would do is say, I think I found a unicorn, number one. And number two, now I want to find out if I can break it. I want to see what the scenario is, because what he's alluding to here is, why do we use house data? What we're really, the red, green, yellow test is supposed to take the temperature of the real estate environment where you're sending mail.
You said it beautifully earlier. We were talking about this, the health of the climate in that zip code.
Yeah, zip code or that county or whatever.
I love it.
So pulling more data to do that is always better.
Well, let me back up and let's just say this. What if, for example, because this could happen, I'm doing my red, yellow, green test, or I'm even fishing right now, and I'm looking at zip codes where I'm like, all these sold, and the day I look, there's nothing active. That's like, holy moly. That means the next one that's going to pop in there, people are going to jump on. That was my gut instinct.
Me too.
And that can't happen.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if that's what Ram is going. But when you put the numbers in there, it kind of screws the numbers up because it doesn't normally happen like that.
Yeah.
And if you wait a couple days, maybe something will get listed and the numbers it'll work. But if you really find a market like that things are flying off the shelves, because in real estate that can happen. Like, heck yeah.
You just want to make sure it's not crazy rural, like northern North Dakota or Minnesota, where it's just almost Canada and there's just nothing happening there.
Right.
Data anomalies. When I find it, this is a data exception, what he stumbled on. When I find a data exception, I stop what I'm doing and find out why.
It's good.
And if it doesn't pass a logic test, like nothing's active and 3 properties sold because The farmer bought 3 properties next to his house. And the fact is, there's just nothing happening there. There's no velocity. And then that's not good.
And you can, it's not hard to find, not hard to spend a time and figure that out. And it's free.
If you're running the red, green, yellow test with let's say 10 or even 20 adjacent zip codes in a northern rural area, then this is probably not going to, you're going to find other zips that are great.
There you go.
It's an exception.
Great question. I love it. Of course, next week we have our Monday through Friday podcast show. Comes out every day at 2 Pacific time. We are doing an advanced teaching model for April. So I guess I think there was a date updated schedule for this anyway. It's happening Tuesday, April 29th at 4 o'clock Pacific time. This is something that we've committed to doing. I don't know how long it's been now, but every month we do a deep dive into a topic that's current and relevant and needed in our community. This is it's free to Land Academy members, so join us. It is also recorded for you. So if you can't be there live to ask the questions in person, don't worry about them. Don't worry about it. You will watch the replay, and they're all there for you forever. They're on your member dashboard in the advanced. There's an advanced teaching or advanced learning tab to get those. But we're going to have a deep dive on posting into Facebook and Craigslist. This is going to be huge. There are so many of you that have such success, especially Facebook. Exactly. In Facebook Marketplace. It's funny. I remember when this first started, when we would hear people, well, it was probably even with you, Jack, with eBay, when people are like, what do you mean you could buy land on eBay? What do you mean you can buy a car on eBay? Now we all know that's possible. It's no big deal. And I'm sure it was when Facebook Marketplace was coming out, and like, what do you mean you can buy land on Facebook? Yeah, you can. And you could sell land on Facebook. So now it's all the norm to all of us. But there's nuances, and there's things you need to do and things you should do to make sure your land moves quickly. So that's going to happen on Tuesday at 4 Pacific time. And then, of course, we have our advanced office hours, coming up into the first of the month. So Thursday, May 1st, which will be, I guess, next Thursday. Yeah. We will have our advanced call, which we get together once a month with all our Career Path alumni, which is like, whew, that's where big deals are put together. Huge concepts are talked about. It's really fun. I'm looking forward to that. And then next week we have our weekly member call at the same time.
Oh,
now to Jack's current events.
As you know, we look at this every single week. What I'm looking for is data exceptions or interruptions, and we're having one right now. Median listing price for all intents and purpose is 0. This is this week ending data against last year's week ended. And this is the same thing year to date. These are all pretty much 0. New listings year to date, it's 7.5%. And it continues to go up with higher listings and higher listings. The market's finally responding and saying enough's enough. There's just enough property on it. We're going to do something different here in a second to kind of further. I would like to show you how I further investigate local markets and put real numbers to these percentages.
That's good.
So we've got less property being listed. Finally have this insanity is that,
they think they know why.
And there's 30% active listings. It's, due to Easter holiday, you think? Oh, was Easter different last year though?
Yeah, it varies every year.
Oh.
It's not like December 25th. So it moves.
Well, I guess we'll wait till next week to see what this number is.
That will tell us for sure. They say due to Easter holiday. I'm sure they're guessing, because you know what? I saw open houses literally. I don't know if you did, but in our community in the Phoenix metro area, there were open houses happening on Easter Sunday. And I don't think that's nuts.
Nothing will disrupt your real estate company like holidays. Yeah. Holidays and stuff that goes on in your house with your family. It's very disappointing. Jill's not catching it.
I'm choosing to ignore that.
This will put some numbers to this. So these are new listings. This blue line, I hope you can see it, is 2025 this year. And so you can see there's 9.6% more new listings. If I go back, this is back a week, 13%. And then you can see it trending up, but that's not different from the year over year numbers. These are other years. This is different a little bit. And this is month over month. 105, year over year, 105 new listings over the last year. Is when you see 9.6%, it's like, whatever. There's 100,000 more properties on the market. To drive the point home further, you should look at your county or your metro area, and they're all listed here.
Meaning the area that you're mailing.
Yes, or potentially
selling land.
Exactly, Joe. Thank you.
That's not where you're sitting unless you're looking for a new house.
This is Los Angeles, so we've got 1,400 new listings, 5% over year over 5% week over week. 1,500, 1,400, and then year over year, 1,500, and on and on. This is a percent. This is the numbers. My whole point to this is that you can put a number to it. So in LA County, there's 1,500 more properties listed than there were in the prior period. That could be material to you, or it couldn't. If you look at some of the smaller markets, I just randomly picking one in Nebraska, that's 9.5 properties. That's not going to make or break my decision making there. New listings. Let's go back to Los Angeles. This is what I was doing earlier, Joe. I'm only picking Los Angeles because it's got a lot of data, so it's a little bit more meaningful. 1,400 new listings, 1,100 pending. So we have a lot more. We have way more new listings than we do have pending sales. Sold, same period, 1,000. There's a lot more new listings than pending sales and homes sold.
Would you recommend when I'm fishing?
That's not good.
And trolling, I use this too before I do the regular green test.
I recommend doing all this stuff and then essentially doing what makes sense to you. I tend to see data in spreadsheets. Not everybody does. Some people tend to see it this way. Some people need to see it. A huge amount of people need to see data like this.
Better. I agree. I like the graphs.
People see data like this.
That's true. Like active sold. I do see it like that.
They see it as one-offs. That's troubling. They just see it like this. So my point is, however you see the data, just make it work for you and make those decisions.
This is good.
But I think it's really helpful for me to put a number to it. I'm not afraid of 1,000 new listings. I know you aren't either.
Yep. No. Matt was saying some of the zip codes that aren't small will show high days on market due to a few absolute dud listings. That's true. Yeah, if they don't have a lot of data, high days on market, it could skew your numbers.
Mortgage rates aren't worth looking at. I looked at it earlier. They're bouncing around
Really?
6. We can look real quick.
Hanging out around 6.
It keeps getting reported that they're going down, but what happens is they do go down, but only so slightly, and they just want to get in the news. I'm like, this is down. So it's 6.98, goes down to 6.81 or 92. And so everybody in the news says mortgage rates are going down. And then they go back up. So my point is, the reality is it stays right here around 6.5, 6.7. Until we get the feds to do a rate reduction this year, whenever I don't know what the scheduled rate reductions are, or scheduled rate adjustments, we're not going to see any real change in this. And we need to see a real change in this, I think. Like all this stuff, if you're new, what the hell is he talking about? There's a ton of property on the market, tons of property on the market. We are smack in this hyper supply scenario. We're not to the end of these 4 cycles, the 4 cycles of real estate are recovery, expansion, hyper supply, which is where we are. We're not anywhere near the amount of supply that we're going to get, meaning more property on the market. It's in this recession that Jill and I and most people make the most money. If you follow Grant Cardone or any of the not the land people, but serious, crazy nutcase real estate people online, they're ramping up everything that they're doing right now, personally, to buy a lot of real estate during these recessionary periods. This is where the fortunes are made. And then you can sell it off here or sell it off here if it's cheap enough, which is what we do. There's a ton of supply right now, a ton of properties. So it's a buyer's market. We're buyers. We just recorded the podcast today. What Jill said was this: you line up 100 people, 3 or 4 of them answer yeah, I want to sell, but they're not giving her what she wants, which right now is extraordinary, what she asks for. And then she just says, cool, I'm going to move on. Mm-hmm. Good luck. Because she knows they're not going to sell it to anybody.
Mm-mm. No,
this is a fantastic position to be in right here.
Exactly. I'm excited.
We have a lot of deals happening, more than we have in a long time.
Mm-hmm. This is really good.
That's it for me. Is
that it? All right. Well, we're gonna close this up for the planet, and we're gonna pivot to just our member portion. Thank you for joining us today.
If you have any questions or comments, please use the chat for sure. Mm-hmm. And